Okay, this is going to be the foundation of the little warehouse. I pre-did it, put some little steps to come up in a back door. And then there's going to be a part of this dock will come over and tie into this one. And then I cut the height to be about loading dock high for the trucks. Just made it out of a piece of the foam, cut the thickness, painted it with the chalk paints, all weathered a little bit. And now figuring out the building, I had thought about making it a metal building, and then I thought about stucco, but because so much at this end is a brick building and my depot is a brick building and the control tower is a brick building, so I think I'm just going to make this scratch built brick building. We'll see how that goes. Okay guys, I thought I was being cute. I didn't want to just make a square building. Any idiot can make a square building. So I'm going to have a dock overhang here and here. I thought, okay, square building with a little bit bigger roof. Well, the walls are going to come back, and then I thought, well, I don't want it to look square, so I made a corner out of here, and I made a little notch here, made some stairs, made the gable part, and then I realized I cut all my walls are cut, the height, and I was just going to put this on the ends. Well, what happened, where the gable goes up, I'm going to have to cut this little piece off and this little piece off, but that makes the height of the wall taller. I just made a lot of work for myself. So I'm going to do a voiceover on the rest of the video, and that way I can speed the thing up, because you don't want to hear the words I'm going to be saying probably. And another thing, I bought this. It was a bargain. It's $1.75. Big package. It felt like a heavy piece of styrene until I got the package just now opened, and there's 2 sheets in there. Now this is like a diamond plate texture. This is a brick texture, but pretty thin. So more work. I'm going to have to do a whole lot of bracing in this thing so that the walls don't look like this. So like I said, I'll do a voiceover. I can't walk and chew gum, and if I've got to concentrate this hard to make this thing work, you don't want to hear the words I'm going to be spitting out when I'm doing it. So let's get on with it.
All right, now what I'm just tracing around the back of a truck, delivery truck. They're not quite as tall as a semi-trailer, but the width and everything's about right. And since it's a recessed dock, it doesn't really have to be the height of a semi. But this just gives me a real quick square level place to cut out. You can see there, barely see 2 docks there. And that's what they'll look like. And here I'm trimming off those roof pieces to get them the right size and the right, which end gets cut and which end doesn't get cut, which you'll see here shortly that I did mess that up on one of them. Now there's my bracing. I got just little balsa wood strips that I put in there and then trimmed off. It gives you something to glue to. Boy, that plastic is like 1/4 of a millimeter. It's just like a sheet of paper. So it was going to be a challenge to glue it together without putting bracing in there. And I don't know what I'm trying to tell you there. So I think because of very back wall is more narrow. Now here, getting this thing glued up. What I found was that I really don't think this stuff is styrene. I think it's more like just a sheet plastic or something. It's kind of like that plastic that they warm it a little bit and they just press it over a mold and it cools instantly and shapes. Well, that super glue stuck to it instantly, unless there was a spot that maybe I'd handled it or something, and then you couldn't get it to stick at all. So it wasn't anything like working with styrene. It was a pain in the butt. 1, 2, 3 blocks for keeping everything square, which those things are just lifesavers too. They're neater than my little medicine cups. And double checking, see what it looks like, what it's going to fit. Trying to figure out how I'm going to make that back square.
Okay, thought I had it all figured out right. Made a blunder. The peak on the roof lines up in the front, in the middle, but I worked off the wrong side on the peak on the back. You can see it doesn't line up with those. So I'm going to have to take this piece off and redo that. Here I thought I was doing so good. Back shortly. All right, well there's a, I'm going to get this where you can see. There's going to be the front dock overhang on the parking lot. This dock overhang butts up to the train track, and right there's where the wooden platform's going to hit it. You know, got the roof all lined up now, and there'll be a door that goes there, but it's going to be a kind of just an added on superficial because it's really not even going to be noticeable. And there's 2 of the front loading docks, and there's the side loading dock. Okay, I got those little filled in places where the roof needed to be raised up. Here, and that side. I got additional bracing put in everywhere, and I got a center rib for the roof. Styrene, and I know this package is open somewhere. And they're just little bitty strips. But I'm going to put those along the bottom edge of this roof all the way around. But I'm going to mount this first.
All right, gluing up, getting this cardboard on. Trying to make sure I got it good and square, straight. Put some weight on it, let one side set, and hopefully it'll all come out flush and flat.
All right, here's the, I guess, the stage we're at. Here's the side door. Back. That's where I'm going to put a door on that little wall over there, but it's just going to be a surface mount looking door because with that big of an overhang, you're not going to be able to see it probably anyway. And then you can see I put the little rib trim piece all the way around the roof, and it just helps keep the roof straight. Plus, it adds a little thickness to it that, you know, without it, it'd just been so thin. And I've got all the bracing inside done. We're going to let this dry real good overnight, and then I'll primer everything. And then we'll get busy painting it. And I've got that little narrow corrugated paper that's already pre-done. I think have enough. I hope that I'm going to do this roof like a corrugated roof. So that'll be tomorrow's project. Okay, we're all primered up, and under, inside, I think I've kind of touched up any little cracks or gaps. Some of the color I picked today is barn red. So let's get this going and see how this turns out. Okay, now a trick a lot of guys use when they're doing brick and you want to look like used brick, you take a little sponge and really dab it down to nothing and attach it. N-scale is so small that it's really hard to do that. So I found to get a little paintbrush and get just a tiny bit of paint on it and then get it just about all off, and then lightly hit a couple spots, and you'll barely hit the highlights. Now, the paint's kind of drying in different shades here, but red look is flat red. Okay, I'm going to spray this with some dull coat and seal it up, and then when it's dry we'll go back and see if that brick is deep enough to take any kind of mortar wash, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I'd mentioned before, you know these little plastic pill cups you get when you're at the hospital and they bring your medicine to you? And you can buy these things online, and it's a package of crap, I don't know, like 100, 200, whatever. These things are great. Guys, gotta get you just a bunch of these. I use them for holding little parts, mixing paints. They're just lifesavers, but they're those pill cups, medicine cups they give you. Okay, we're gonna mix up a little wash here and see what happens. Now in the past I've kind of seen a little thing when I do this. Some guys put it on and then just let it run down, but then what happens, it almost all runs out. So if you kind of delay that, spread some on here, get it to flow in there, and I kind of let it dry a little bit, and then I can wipe off the top. So I just kind of keep it level where it doesn't run off. Okay, I don't know if I can get this. You can see it just right. Okay, got it. Now I haven't wiped this side off yet. This is just where it's dried. So this side needs done. I'm going to show you one more time how I do this. Like I said, this stuff is really watery. It's even thinner than milk. And just keep it level. And kind of just smear it all around the kind of like that. Now I'm going to tilt this, and you can watch how it runs down the cracks, and you'll see across the bottom, see how it's filling in, and it's starting to puddle up, and eventually that would all run off. So I try to keep it level. and let it dry, and then I'll go back. You can use a paper towel to wipe it off, but you gotta really be dry because it'll soak up what wasn't dry. And sometimes what I use is an old rubber eraser. Is after it's good and dry, you can just kind of rub it and it'll take the surface off. So we'll let this dry and then I'll show you how we do that part. All right, everybody, now you can see up close the brickwork. Now there's still a little bit of film. Now you can take a cloth if you dampen it, but you also can soften what's in the cracks, especially as shallow as these are. So what I sometimes do is I just take either a pencil eraser or any kind of eraser and lightly that way you're just getting the top surface. Most of this looks pretty good. It kind of smudges and smears it, but it does take off a little bit of the top layer. And then just damp, very damp. And there you go. Yeah, let's see if we can. Yeah, this, like I said, this plastic, you can see there, just look how thin this is. It's almost like it was just stamped with a brick pattern and not molded. Okay, moving right along.
Okay, now I had in my scrap, I had a frame for like a screen door or something, and I printed out several pages of all kind of different doors, windows. I did this because I'm eventually going to start doing some of those cardboard house kits, and just kind of want to play with them, see how they work. But we stuck that little frame on there. It had a peel off backing, which was really nice, and just picked a door that had a lot of contrast so that it would be somewhat noticeable, because like I said, it's going to be underneath that corner. It's really going to be difficult to see. Take your marker, go across them edges so that that white paper doesn't show. And you can already tell just sitting there looking at it, it's going to be underneath an overhang, and you're just going to have to get down at a certain angle to even see this door. But I had steps there, so I had to put a door there. But not too bad. I can live with that. And now we're going to get some roofing put on this thing. It's a paper roofing with a foil over it. It's basically the best way I can describe it. And then they stamp those grooves in it. Tear's kind of easy. So I learned that when you're cutting it, you got to really have a sharp razor. And it follows contours. So if you got any wrinkle in your roof, you're going to have wrinkle in the tin. And one thing, I'd mentioned earlier in another video that I've had to make a lot of adjustments here in the Philippines. Well, in America, I've used cardboard roofs several times. And here in the Philippines, the humidity is an issue. And dealing with this model, I noticed that cardboard roof is, set overnight, and I come out and it's already getting a little wavy look. So it's going to be okay. That just shows a sign of age and wear. And, if you make everything just too perfect, then it doesn't look real. But that's a issue I'm going to have to adjust with also making these roofs. Is I'm going to have to find some thicker styrene and take care of that. And we're going to do a little weathering here lined up where my docks are, and get a little bit of forklift traffic going in and out of those doors. Those powdered chalk. Now putting a little burnt sienna. I don't know why. That's just, every model in the world, that's the one color they know. So we're going to apply that for a little bit of new rust, because this isn't an old roof, so it's going to have a little new rust on it. But coming out pretty good so far. You can already see some wrinkles in the roof there just from the cardboard wanting to kind of wiggle. All right, there's sitting on the foundation. I put me some little dock bumpers for the trucks to back up and hit. Got me some vents on top of the roof there. Keep the warehouse cooled down. Don't want the guys to die of heat stroke. You can kind of see there's a few ripples there in that foil where the cardboard underneath got wavy on me. There's my little door. You can see it down there. It worked out all right. Brickwork turned out pretty decent. That little plastic door right there was from another old kit. Just fit perfect. Well, I thought I had it all figured out. I worked on the roof on that side, made sure it cleared. I had a regular boxcar here, it cleared fine, but when I put those long coaches on there, they hit right on that corner. So I had to trim a little bit of that roof off, and I still need to straighten it and touch it up. But that's how it worked. Now the end of the video, that cab ride, it's kind of blurry. That little cube camera, I liked it when I first got it, but the last 2 or 3 videos I've tried to make with it, they're blurry, it's jerky, it starts, it stops. So I'm gonna do some research, see if I can't find a little better camera to put in the cars. All right, hope you guys learned something. Got any questions? This was 2 hours of video. I cut it down to get it under 30 minutes. And hope you enjoyed it, and we'll look for you on the next one.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Please head back a like and subscribe and the bell. See you next time.